Hello, this is Logos from Critical Gameware, and today I'm going to be running you through a few more of the details about the Weapon Equip System 2. So, as you may have noticed, the description has been updated and we have released the new system with some new features in it. Apologies to anybody who downloaded the system or bought the system thinking they were going to get the new one and discovered it was the original. We had a bit of trouble updating the system through Epic Games, unfortunately. But it has all been updated now, so please re-download the system and you'll have the complete new Weapon Equip System 2 with all the new functions and features. So I'm going to show you how to use them. And what you'll want to do is, you'll notice in your project, you'll see the new folders here, and you just want to open up the Weapon Equip System map. Don't worry about that. And that will open you into the showcase map where you can have a look at all the how it works. So we'll jump in here. Now the first thing you'll notice is that press E to pick up, and you press the E key and nothing happens. And that is simply because with the system, when I uploaded it, it was linked to an input action that was set in a particular project. Because this has been added to a new project, that link no longer exists. But it's very easy to fix. So we just jump over to the blueprints and the weapon parent blueprint. And here you will see an input action function, and it will have a warning on it, and I have already deleted that. So you simply need to right click and press type in E key, and there you'll see the E key, and you can hook that up straight to there and compile. And this will work. E, and it picks up the weapon. So it's just re-putting in the event basically. If you would like to use the input action, that is also extremely easy to do. Jump over to Edit Project Settings here, go down to Input, and you'll see Action Mappings here. And basically just makes a new bound event depending on an action that is taken. So the action that we will define is that the pick up key is pressed, so pickup key, and we will define the pickup key as the E key. So when the E key is pressed, it will fire the pickup key action. So we can get out of that and we can right click and say pick up key, and you'll see it under input action events. So you can hook that one up if you'd like to use an action mapping. And once again, that will work. Because we define it as the E key, when I press E key, it picks it up. Very easy, very simple. That's your first fix. Now, one of the new features is the ability to spawn the weapon in the world, and it's meant that we've changed how the weapons are picked up and how they're put into the slots, also because they can be picked up in any order. So basically now, the system looks for any free slots, and it will put the weapon straight into a free slot. So here you can see that new, whoa, I was doing that. This is used with the defined array size, and it will basically look into any of the slots in the array, and it will put the weapons in the first available slot. So they can be picked up in any order, and they will go into the first available slot they find, which is really cool and handy. And also it will look through the system and it will find if there are any weapons of the same category. And if there are any weapons of the same category, it will then destroy the old weapon. So rather than looking in the slots anymore, we now use the weapon categories to figure out whether we should destroy an old weapon or not. You can in fact go ahead and disregard the slots here. So these weapons are all set at weapon slot 0 now, despite them being different weapons, because the system will assign that slot. Here it will assign the slot as the weapon is picked up. And rather than looking in the same slot to see if there's a weapon already there and if it's the same weapon and replacing it that way, it will now check if there's a weapon of the same category in the whole array, and it will replace it that way. Anyway, that's the technicalities. What it means is this. We can jump in here, pick up the sword, And I can walk over here and pick up this sword, and there you go. Oops. Get him. There he is. Basically, it's replacing the old weapons with the new weapon, but it's also spawning the old weapon in the world. And what it's able to do is because they're both the same category. So I jump into the weapon sword blueprints here and here, and you will see that there's a new variable called weapon category, and they're both set to the same category. So what it means is that when it picks up a new weapon, it looks through the array for any weapons of the same category, and if there are weapons of the same category, it replaces it. You can decide how specific you get with those. Of course, it's entirely up to you. I mean, if you want to be swapping long swords, then with long swords, or short swords with short swords, or two-handed swords, depends on how specific you want your characters, your players' weapons to be. Awesome. So we can jump over now back to the My Character blueprint here, and we can open the Remove Previous Weapon actor. And basically what this does, this is a bit of functionality that allows us to spawn the old weapon in the world. So if you don't want to be spawning the weapon in the world, that's totally cool. And you just unhook that, and you just hook these up to here. And now what will happen is that when I pick up the weapon here, and I pick up a weapon of the same category, it's destroyed. New one is replaced, is put in the slot, and the old one is destroyed. But if you do want the player to have access to that weapon still, you can just hook up from isValid to Sphere Trace by Channel, and from Spawn Actor down to Destroy Actor, and that will just put in the functionality to cast a sphere that will find a spot to put the old weapons in the world. So it will spawn the old weapon from its class and place it in the world. So that is pretty cool, and that basically works like this, as I've just shown you before, and it will do it by finding the weapon of the same category in the array. Now what this also means is that, as requested by a number of users, we can now pick up the weapons out of order, because they're using a different kind of slot system. So we're basing the presumption on the fact that every game designer knows how many weapons they want their player to have access to. So how many weapon slots they want their player to have access to. And basically that's what you put in here. So if you want your player to be able to carry 4 weapons at a time, you put in 4. If you want it to be able to carry 8 weapons, you put in 8. You know, it's simple as that. I've got 3 weapons in the showcase, so I've got 3 in the resize. And then you also want to still hook up so if you're carrying 4 weapons, you still want to hook up this part of the functionality. And that will allow you to use the 4 key. And you can go up to 10, and then you can add shifts and controls if you really want to give them too many weapons. But basically, you want to define your size there, how many slots you want your player to be able to access, and that will allow the rest of the functionality to work correctly. And what it allows is that you can walk around and you can pick up these weapons in any order, and they will find the first available slot, and it will go to keystroke 1 for that weapon there. I can pick this one up here, and it goes to keystroke 2. I can still scroll, I can sheath, I can do everything I've always been able to do, just out of order, which is really cool. So, and still it will be able to find where that weapon is of the same category, and it will be able to replace it. So that this part of functionality still works, of course. So yeah, that's really cool. So basically, I've shown you, the fact that you can pick up weapons out of order. You can now spawn the weapons as well in the world. That you need to be conscious that the weapons are now working on weapon categories if you want the weapon to be replaced. Their slots can be all set to 0. The slots are defined by the actual functionality in this part. And it will check if there is a weapon of the same category now. It won't check in the same slot. Yep. And the last little part, which is pretty exciting, is UMG. So since the first weapon equip system was made, UMG has been added to the engine. So under blueprints you'll see the UMG folder, and you'll see pickup text and weapon texture. Quickly open up pickup text. Basically, if you were using any other key like an F or I don't know, it's mostly going to be E and F, I guess, you could just go over here to where the pickup text is, and here's your text here, and you could just change that to an F. And of course, you change the binding in the weapon parent blueprint here, and you want to make that an F, or you want to make the action mapping go to an F as well to make sure that works. But that is very easy to change, and that just is shown in the world via a HUD event. And there you go. But the really cool part is the weapon texture. So we've put the weapon texture in blueprints in UMG, sorry, and that, oh man, I don't know why it does that. So if this happens where the image gets removed from the box, oh god, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. You can, I think you can actually just take the image out of the box and delete the box if you want to, or Control click the horizontal box and the image, and then it won't work. It still won't work. That's very highly frustrating. I remember, I Control click both of them, and I Control click on the actual image. I'm not entirely sure why that's happening. If anybody figures out the solution, that would be grand. So Control click everything, and you can move it around, and you can resize it, and it's extremely simple, obviously now, to move around the screen and resize and adjust your texture. So now it's going to be like filling up half my screen. Boop, there it is. So obviously extremely easy to work with, rather than having to manually put in all the numbers. So that's what UMG can do for you, which is really cool. I'm going to Control click everything again for some reason, and we'll just resize that down so you can actually see your screen as well. So that's very handy. Again, if you are shifting this around, just make sure you adjust your anchor. So my anchor's down here now. I can go over to anchors and put the anchor up there, and that will just make sure it stays on the screen correctly. So I think that's all of the little details that I need to show you. If you're working with the system previously and you the weapon category part has now changed, but you want to use the new spawn functionality and stuff like that, what you just need to do is go to the, oh man, that's a lot of saving. You'll just need to go to the weapon parent blueprint that you have. Oh, the other thing is obviously here, all of the pickup functionality has been changed from the level blueprint to the weapon parent blueprint, so it can go across levels really easily now. Oh, and if you want to still pick up the weapon with just being walking over it, you can also do this here as it says. So you can just activate an overlap from here. You could just hook this up down here, and then as soon as you walked over the weapons, it would pick it up like it used to. But I'm pretty sure most people are going to want to use a key. So there you go. Yeah, so if you have the old weapon parent blueprint, you can just add in a new variable here. So your new variable, and I've used a name. Just had to check that one. It's all a bit confusing, this new layout, but over here is your variable type and name, and you can put that to weapon category, and that will change all of your weapons that you've already created from the weapon parent blueprint, and you can just define your categories in your weapons that are inherent from the weapon parent blueprint you have. I can't find their details now. Oh, this new system. Ooh, no. There they are. Well, look, you have to press on that bit. Anyway, there's your category. So yeah, you can just change that in your weapon parent blueprint that you have, and that will change all the child blueprints. It's very easy, and then that will work with the functionality that is inherent in the rest of the system now, like the spawn. Anyway, I hope that's helped a lot. If you guys have any more questions, please let us know through the email address or through YouTube, and we will help out as soon as we can. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for purchasing the system. It really helps us. Cheers.